Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show with your host Shikama. GM says the new CEO, let me edit that a little bit, the new female CEO will earn 60% more than the male predecessor. This is one of those stories that makes me sick to my stomach. There is no upside to this for the company, and the company is really being extorted for something fake and false. There is no female minority. Women are 51% of the nation. Until women understand that they are 51% of the nation, they are still going to be targeted as victims and be played in this political exercise to divide people right down to the very family, including husband and wife. Women, understand you're being played. It's not real. You're not a minority. I've never considered a woman a minority. I've considered a woman a woman. General Motors took the unusual step of releasing full details of their new CEO's pay package. All told, Mary Barra could make $14.4 million this year, or about 60% more than her male predecessor. Last week, the automaker was criticized for paying Barra too little. Her compensation, which news reports put at $4.4 million, was seen as living proof that corporate America pays women a lot less for doing the same job as a man. Now, I have not done any research into this, Miss Barra, personally. I mean, on a personal level, I'm just reporting the story. But I would be very pleased to see what her qualifications are. Is she a professional CEO? Is she qualified to be a professional CEO? And is she qualified to be a professional CEO of a company with that capital? Maybe 4.4 million wasn't such a bad idea. Maybe she was getting away with murder based on her qualifications. I don't know that though. GM released a figure saying it wanted to correct misperceptions created by comparisons that use only a portion of Barra's overall compensation. USA Today reports after becoming the first big car company to put a woman in the corner office, GM definitely didn't want to be seen as underpaying her, as some reports last week had said. Those failed to note her long-term compensation because GM had not disclosed that at the time. CEOs get a large portion of their compensation in awards tied to stock performance to ensure their interests and stockholders are the same. Barra's package is $1.6 million in salary, $2.8 million in short-term incentives, and long-term compensation of $14.4 million. Bloomberg adds that her total compensation could put Barra among the top 3 car executives. Ford's Alan Mulally earns $21 million. VW's Martin Winterkorn earns $19.8 million. Daimler Dietz earns $11.1 million. The Detroit Free Press says former CEO Dan Akerson, quote, was paid about $9 million in his final year as CEO. His compensation was capped by the U.S. Treasury Department while the government still owned GM. The U.S. Treasury lifted those restrictions when it sold the rest of its shares in January. Update. GM has profit sharing. This year, about $7,000 per worker. That last little update was for those who were screaming that the top executives make so much more than their workers. GM, in particular, since the story is about GM, has profit sharing with all of its employees. Now, If you have read Think and Grow Rich by Dale Carnegie, one of the things he says is, pay your employees with stock in the company. Then they will be invested in the success of the company. Now, we're not talking about minimum wage workers to begin with, but people always want to stick their nose in other people's business and want to try and tell people how to run their life. None of the people criticizing GM have ever been a CEO in charge of thousands of people and in charge of millions of associated businesses that go into car manufacturing in the United States of America. None of them. When you are responsible for millions of lives and you are responsible to shareholders, how much do you think your time is worth? And understand that the CEO doesn't really have a life of their own. They're a professional CEO 24 hours a day. They have to travel. They have to stay in the office. They have to go to meetings. They have to do this, that, and the other. And most of their work is raising funds for the company. So a company worth $500 billion raising funds, how much would you pay the fundraiser for that? And most people don't understand that part of the CEO's job description. Thank you for watching the Chicago Live Show. As I said, I think it's a travesty. You're paying a woman simply because she's a woman? What are her qualifications? They named her to the position. They knew what they were giving her, and she knew what they were giving her. These aren't McDonald's employees. We're not talking about people who can't argue for themselves. I'm sure she had an attorney look over her contract with GM. It's people try and associate their world with a large cap company's world. When you become the CEO of a large cap company, come and tell me that you feel that you should be paid $100,000 a year. When the people sitting on the board and the shareholders are making 30% off of your back, then we can talk some talk. And the people downstairs pushing buttons on a computer to form a car, who then, after their 10-hour shift or 12-hour shift, go home and their job is done, I don't think they would want to even trade the job. How many CEOs commit suicide each year because of pressure? How many people die? How many CEOs die of heart attacks? You don't hear those quotes. All you hear is the millions of dollars paid each year. How much could they pay you to kill yourself? There's the real question, right? Thank you for watching the Chicago Live Show.